Hello everyone, and welcome back to our live coverage of the 2016 Tata Steel Chess Festival here in Vaikanze. And I'm delighted to have with us Fabiano Caruana. Fabi, welcome onto the show. You're playing a very strong player today, Pavel. Take us through the game. What happened?
Sure.
We can, if you like, you can also mouse click forward.
Yeah, DC4 was a bit of a surprise. I don't think he's ever played it before.
What was your expectation? Bishop b4,
Recently
bishop
he's been playing
b7?
the semi-Slav.
Okay.
And in the past he played not that, but but the Rogozin.
Yeah.
And this I had briefly considered and decided to check something and then forgot to check it before the game.
Okay.
So I mean the thing is that unless you want to be really harmless, you either go for what I went for, or you go for this, which...
The old stuff, Bishop
Yeah,
g5, or the modern
I mean, with
pawn-sack?
my knowledge, will probably end in a quick forced draw.
Right.
Or maybe a long forced draw. So I just didn't see any choice.
Now, have you played this sacrifice yourself? I mean, you're certainly aware of it, but have you played it yourself?
No, I checked it a long while back, and I hadn't rechecked it or anything in at least a year, maybe more, probably 2 years.
And your conclusions at that time were as favorable for white, or...
I thought it was interesting, you know. It's,
okay.
I thought it was worth a try. It's not really an unknown line. I mean, it's
no, not at all.
Usually black takes and either puts a bishop back here, which is rare, or back here, and you, not bishop e3, but you can put your knight here, and you get some decent compensation.
Okay.
And I just didn't know what to do after this. I can go for something like this, which I'm sure is fine for black. I thought maybe rook b8.
Rook b. I was about to say it's kind of it's luring to force his knight to c6 and knight e5. Looks very good.
The problem
rook
with this
b8
is that,
that's a move I didn't expect.
This is probably the first thing you analyze if you play knight f6.
Right.
And I just didn't see anything. Maybe I missed something, but this must be equal.
Must be, no?
Yeah.
Black hasn't done anything particularly wrong at all.
And maybe there's something better than this for black.
Okay.
But I played a little bit risky because I am just playing down a pawn now.
Right.
I think he didn't have to play h6. He could go back immediately. And then there are some additional options for black here, like knight d5. The idea to get this.
Mm-hmm.
Sacks on f7 don't seem to work. And maybe it was, I mean, it's a different story. In any case, what he did can't be bad.
But the inclusion of h6, bishop h4, on the one hand, maybe black's happy that he gets to play Luft for free. On the other hand, some hook in the position that maybe works for you, rook d3, rook g3.
This kind of stuff rarely works, but I think that the g6 square is a legitimate weakness. And this diagonal in the long term could be a weakness if black wants to play g6 and have the pawn h7.
Right.
And there was some other, I mean, like if he tries to do the same thing that I just mentioned, then I thought that this was very interesting for white. I mean, I saw a bunch of sacrifices.
It looks like you're the one having fun, right?
And here, suddenly I mean, at least I'm very well developed, and his bishop is a little bit misplaced, and I might start to swing stuff up. Rook d4, queen e4, etc.
His extra pawn isn't the most fun. It's not the most useful extra pawn at the moment.
It's not so easy to attack, but at least it looked like... I mean, I've gone this far.
Okay.
So, I think what he did was correct.
Right.
If he goes with the other knight, which looks...
legitimate.
Maybe more natural. I just draw up my bishop back. My queen will... And again, this is a thing where maybe he would like to play g6, but now I'll sack on g6. And maybe the pawn on h7 would be better.
The pawn on h6, the h pawn would be better served on the h7.
G6,
yeah.
But I think he played absolutely correct. Yeah, I could take, but I didn't like both knight e7 and queen e7 for white. And I could also include this first. f5 here. This ending maybe I'm better. I don't know. I'll regain the pawn. But the thing is that if he took back with the knight, I just thought that it's really not sufficient compensation.
Right. On the one hand, it looks like you've induced this very nice weakness f5. On the other hand, it's actually the e6 pawn is
Yeah.
okay, and black's okay here.
Yeah. No, there's no concrete problems for black, and he will slowly try to get out.
Yeah, queen
Maybe
e8 and knight g6 and what have you. Yeah.
I mean, maybe I have enough to claim I'm not worse. But here I probably was worse. I think he played an excellent move, bishop a4. The point is that after b3, bishop e8, c3 is weak, and then I can't move my knight to c5, for example.
Mm-hmm.
And he's happy to play knight d7 next. So I went here. I didn't like my position very much.
Really? You did simply that?
I didn't like it at all. I didn't see why I have much compensation for the pawn. And if I do something like this, then I thought he's just better, clearly better, and we'll start to push f6, e5 in the long run.
All right.
So I thought that at least here, it's hard for him to do much or to make use of his extra pawn. He's a bit cramped.
Funnily enough, I was very sad. I thought his play was quite good. He played a5, queen e8, and rook d8. And then, I don't know. I mean, at this moment, after a5, I thought you played a good move,
I
a4.
thought that a5 was a bit of a positional mistake.
Really? Okay.
Because there are some cases where I want to play rook c4, either to swing my rook over or to support h4.
Okay.
And after a4, I basically gain a tempo. And the weakness of b3 just never makes itself felt, I thought. On the other hand, I mean, he does get the b4 square for his knight, but I thought that if he sidelines his knight, then I'll get bishop f4, knight f6 options, and he doesn't want to do that.
So you felt that he should do without the inclusion of a5 and e4, maybe play queen e8 right away?
Yeah, I think he can. Or he can even, I don't know about g6, maybe queen e8 right away.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, I was looking for lines where he would stop h4, but he has this option of, after h4, even in the game, but I mean, we might as well look at it in the game, because this doesn't change too much.
Okay.
Of playing h5, which I thought was just the correct move. And if taking then f5.
Then f5. And now actually everybody likes black because of the d5 square.
I mean, I don't know if I'm much worse or anything, but my bishop is kind of sad. b3 is maybe a weakness. So maybe he could claim that a5 isn't
so bad.
Isn't such a bad move.
Okay.
And I was not planning on taking, but playing something else.
So you felt that it was necessary for him to meet your h4 with h5?
Maybe not necessary, but at least highly desirable.
Okay.
And next move to play g6.
Right.
And the question is what I'm doing. If I do something like that, he just plays g6, and rook d8, king g7, rook d7, etc.
And then it's just beautifully defended, yes.
I don't know. Maybe I have other moves, but I wasn't sure which ones they are. I can try to move my knight. I think black maybe objectively is better.
Okay.
After this, I wasn't unhappy at all.
Okay.
I mean, I have a clear idea. Play bishop e1, queen c2, and then knight jumps somewhere. Rook d5, knight f6, and a mate on h7, ideally. This is a good.
Indeed would be the ideal.
It would be pretty ideal. Yeah, let's say if he goes, I don't know, rook d1, rook d1, bishop d5. I don't have queen c2, but I thought knight f6 or something should be dangerous. Although it might not be working. I think here I probably have at least a forced draw in some way. And maybe I can just do something like that.
Right. Well, just to show a forced draw, I think would be, knight f6 check, takes, check, king h8, queen h, f4,
yeah, I mean, the question
and then
is,
you got at least a forced draw.
I mean, he can play king g7, or he can maybe consider this. I don't know if it's... oh no, rook d4 is made, yeah, rook d4, and... So at least I have a draw, and...
Yay.
And it's not bad considering what my position was. Here I don't think I have more, because f5 is coming.
Okay, fair enough.
But overall it's very dangerous for him. So he played a good move. Rook g8 is coming. First, I mean this actually indirectly attacks g2 in many lines.
You mean especially after knight f6?
Or bishop takes h6.
Or bishop, you got a rook
here,
g2.
I was threatening to take on h6, and then queen e3, and then if king g7 I start queen g3, queen g4, queen f4 stuff, and I'll probably win. And this just cuts all of that out.
Okay.
Cuts any ideas out. And I was actually desperate for an idea, so I wanted to take the knight and put my queen on c2.
Okay.
Which is
the idea that you've been struggling to
Yeah.
achieve for the better part of 30 moves or
Yeah,
since the opening, you might
I mean,
say.
at least my play's been consistent. I put my
Very
pawn here,
good,
yeah.
very good.
I didn't like this move.
You thought rook d4 would
This
be
is
wrong.
very annoying. I can't even put my queen anywhere.
Mhm.
And I was going to do this. Take, take. And when I do 5, I just didn't feel like taking this pawn. He might play f5 or something. And I mean, I just wasn't sure, but I wouldn't say black is necessarily better, but it looks easier to play for him.
Yeah, I can understand your ambivalence towards your position
Yeah.
because it seems like black is better coordinated. Your pieces are a little
Yeah.
bit to and fro, no?
He managed to free his position, and I don't know, maybe I can play something like this.
Mm-hmm.
But the problem is that g6 is not, I mean, let's say in this type of position, g6 is just a good move for him. h6 is easily defended.
Mm-hmm.
This starts to attack. So overall, his defensive resources are excellent.
I see.
And he might just end up a pawn or counterattacking. This I thought was a mistake. Now I take. I also thought that this was inaccurate, because I mean, he can do this. Okay, he can't take with the bishop because this is just
Yes,
bad.
now you're right.
I mean, this is
now there's
impossible.
no g6. Yes.
So he takes with the pawn, which is maybe a slight. Well, I actually don't know if it's the structural changes in my favor or his.
Sorry. Was there just an opportunity here after rook takes? Sorry, I think it was bishop takes. Did
Bishop
you say?
e4.
Queen
D3?
Yeah, I could play bishop takes e4. Queen takes g6.
I thought it was dangerous.
Yeah.
I mean, you probably can't take with the rook, so you'll take with the pawn and.
But why? Yeah,
You
I'm
might
losing
lose.
b7. Yeah, this is just not.
Yeah.
No, you're having fun. Yeah. Sorry.
But this one is here and then here, for example,
Mhm.
and then I'll try to mess around a bit
Okay.
with some. I mean, I can. If I take a knight g3, then he has this, which is pretty solid.
Mm-hmm.
So maybe I move my queen somewhere and then try to, I don't know, here, try to do something. I didn't have anything particular in mind, but
Well, how was the time pressure? Time at this
I
moment?
wouldn't say I was in big time pressure, but I probably had 15 minutes,
Okay.
which is a bit low, and he had probably half an hour.
All right.
I mean, but I just didn't spend much time up till the end of the game. It's somehow, yeah. The thing is that now, this is at least very dangerous for black.
Mm-hmm.
He probably can't do this because of here.
Oh,
And
boy.
if here, I mean, I saw some tactics like knight d6 and it's nothing clear,
Mm-hmm.
but you know, it looked kind of unclear. But at least black is risking just as much as white is, and I can maybe include queen d3. But this is positionally very desirable for me. I have e6, my knight can jump to f5, his bishop is no longer attacking anything, doesn't attack b3, doesn't attack g2. If you could put this here and play c5, you'd just be...
Different story, yes.
But here, it's probably not worse for white at all.
Mm-hmm.
And I thought that it's easier for me to play. So I mean, my knight might jump to f5, my queen might jump to g4, so he decided to try to control some white squares before I did anything. And I could have taken and played e6, which was unclear. But I thought queen g4 is just much better.
Well, it has annoying threats of b4 and
Yeah.
e5, e6, and it's, again, to your initiative, it's very hard for him to control
Mhm.
anymore. Now he's lost the grip,
Yeah,
if
yeah.
he had a grip, but
No,
he's
I'd
lost
say
it.
that it's more pleasant to play white.
Right.
And if, let's say this, I won't go for an endgame, I'll take on b4.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm not down material anymore for the first time since, like, move 5.
Bravo!
So that's
Right? Yeah. Life's never been so
Yeah,
good.
life is looking pretty good.
Yeah.
But maybe he should just do this and then play around a bit. He has the 2 bishops, and it's not so easy. Overall, he probably shouldn't be worse, but I think neither am I. And maybe he overlooked queen d4, which is just an amazing square. It stops bishop d2, controls c5, b4, d5, basically everything. And
Sets up a very
Sets up,
clear e5, e6 discovered check that could be extremely unpleasant.
Yeah.
And
Maybe he should play queen e6, unless f4 is good, and then f5. But in any case, if he wanted to play queen e6, he could do it before. So he really has to think hard about what to do to defend against e6. Maybe
Right.
rook g7. I don't know. So I mean, it's
yeah,
already at
just
that
to
point.
choose a move. Yeah,
He has to do something.
right.
And I'm not saying that white is necessarily better, but I'd rather have white.
Yes. Well, the real question is, does e5, e6 land here, or?
I think it's probably okay for black at this point.
Well, I was thinking bishop d2, queen. Pardon me, bishop f6, queen d2.
Attacks h6,
yeah,
yeah.
attacks h6, and
threatens ef7.
the whole black's king side seems to be.
Yeah. And here I can probably.
Yeah.
Although this looks
crumbling. Sorry, you
this
went
looks unclear.
after bishop g5. You went takes. Was f4 scary, or what's going on?
I'm always a bit worried about this. And then
No, no, take on f7
Oh.
and just collapse g6, right?
Oh, that is bad.
Yeah, that's bad. Okay, so he's got to do better than that. But
Yeah.
still, I'm with
and
you
this
on
one-
this one.
This one I'll take with the pawn most likely.
Yeah, I'm with you.
And-
It's just easier to play white.
It's much easier. My king is very safe, and his king is far from
Right.
safe. Yeah.
Yeah.
And I have this annoying thing.
No, yes, big time.
Yeah. So maybe it's already not very good for him.
Right.
And b6 is, I think, a losing move.
Right. Peter and Leonard were saying that b6 really his position goes south. No,
Yeah.
I don't think he can save it any longer.
There are some nice lines. For example, if king h7, I think I calculated something quite nice here. No,
Can
this
he
is
eat
not
on
it.
b1?
No, this is not it. King h7 had another serious issue.
It wasn't something terrible like knight f5, was it?
The question is knight f5 if...
I'm not sure myself. I just.
Yeah, if
It
trade
just
queens
looks.
and then ef7.
Yeah, it looks like somehow
Yeah.
you're collapsing. You
This
know.
is probably winning.
Yeah.
Queen e8 maybe, but it shouldn't work for you.
Yeah, it really feels.
What did I see here? I know it was probably here. No, because
Okay.
here he really has no choice. I mean, rook g7, I just take this guy. I should be happy about it.
Certainly.
Maybe I even have something better. Wouldn't be surprised at all.
Mhm.
But in any case, yeah, queen f4 is a good move, I think.
Okay.
And here he had king h7. No. What was it? Because bishop g5, bishop g7 are just losing after queen f7, I think.
Right.
So he really has only two ways besides what he played to defend this pawn. And king g7. King g7 is losing to this, I think.
Oh, that's a sweet one. Knight h5. Yeah.
I think it's losing.
Oh no, it's still the bishop's still covering.
I
the
have
ring.
something like this maybe, and just collect all the pawns. But, I mean,
That's a
it's
goodie.
probably gonna.
That's a goodie. I
Probably
like
gonna
that
lose
one.
somehow.
Yes.
Oh, wait, I did see some very nice line. I'm trying to remember it.
Sometimes that's frustrating. You come from a game where you just saw some
Yeah.
like wonderful queen sacrifice, and then you can't recall at the moment you
It
step
was-
into the
it was very, very
the
pretty.
show.
I'm not sure if ef7 wins here, but there was something I think even stronger. Something. I mean, this one I didn't see how to continue, so
Mm-hmm.
there was something very strong in this position.
Well, if you take on f7, he takes on e1, king h2, takes on b1. Nothing here for he takes on g. Isn't that just good for you? Or
It's probably just winning.
Yeah.
Start checking.
It's not
everywhere.
pretty. I mean, it's brutal, but it should be
Yeah.
winning.
This is probably, but I really want to remember this line. Just
So we'll come back with a 30-minute commercial break as Fabi tries to recall what his analysis was.
nice.
No,
It's just such a shame to forget how it goes. But okay, in any case, no, maybe it was this. And besides this, I think this was winning. Maybe it's not even relevant, but no, but this is not winning. Yeah, I don't know.
Well, no, you can't take on g6 after queen e7. Yeah, so...
Yeah, but this is not what I was looking for. I'd rather just take
clean
just
cut.
take a pawn.
Yeah, of course.
Yeah, okay, maybe I'll never remember this. This is just winning, I think. He probably missed queen c2. It is a nice little switcheroo.
Well, it's ironic that the one thing that you were trying to achieve for the better part of 20 moves, which was to get the queen on the right battery, that once you achieve it, it's over.
Yeah.
And he has been desperately trying to prevent you from doing this precise thing.
I mean, after g5, the white squares are just collapsing.
Yes.
And it is important that after something like this, I am still threatening mate, so he can't take my rook.
Mm-hmm.
And if queen e8, knight f5, it's again collapsing because, well, knight e6, anything, yeah.
Yeah.
And here, I mean, he had to try this.
Yeah, I was, certainly, I thought that, it's not that he's missed rook e6.
He probably just was looking at knight takes h6.
Ah.
Was a bit low in time, and maybe thought he can try to hold on here, which is also questionable.
Right.
But here, again, he has a problem that I can probably go this way. Again, winning an exchange or something. And there was a very nice line if he plays rook h7. E7, bishop e8.
Yes.
Which looks like he's holding on, but I just started
No way.
Yeah.
Now the a pawn. Oh.
And I mean, after this, I might as well just be cheeky. And
yeah.
rook on h7 only helps to mate him in
exactly
some lines like this.
Some horrible study where you think to yourself, well, poor problem composers put a rook on h7 just to be annoying.
No, it's a sad rook on h7.
Truly.
And here I didn't see anything for him. The problem is that he has this massive pawns, but it doesn't move anywhere. And if he takes, I'm not sure if I play this first or I just do this.
Oops, rook e6.
And I start to collect pawns.
That's quite a collection too,
Yeah.
because you're doing it with all sorts of nasty.
I might collect his
checks.
bishop.
Yeah, that is. Yeah, exactly.
So it's probably losing, but he might as well have tried something here. I don't know what. It's probably losing though. If he, I mean, in some lines he can take on a4, and he'll have these nice 4 pawns, but they don't seem to move very quickly.
Yeah, it's somehow surprising that in this particular... continue bishop c3. Somehow in this particular position after... No, don't take on a4,
Okay.
that he doesn't have some exchange sacrifice. Like, is c5, c4 just terrible?
I mean, let's say I take with the king.
Yeah.
I might as well push this, and then I just push this, and the problem is that his pawns just go nowhere at all, ever. It'll take like 4 more moves to, and by then it's too late.
Right. Oh, sorry, just here, you just went e7. If I go bishop d4, then you can go rook d2 maybe, or I don't know. Yeah,
I mean, two passed pawns like this probably wins.
Well, yeah, but everybody's a fan of the bishops. You want the bishop, but yeah, the two bridesmaids are very nice.
Yeah, but maybe this was the best chance, at least in time trouble. I could potentially screw it up.
Well, a nice start to your campaign for the tournament. How are you feeling?
Pretty good.
Pretty good.
Always better when I win.
Always better. Fabi, thank you so much for joining us. We hope you come back often on the show, and we'll wish you much success.
Thank you.
We'll take a break for the next 5 odd minutes and come to wrap up what has happened in the first round. Thank you again to Fabi. We'll be back in a few minutes.